As this time will call us to order, and we'll ask the clerk to call the roll, establish the quorum of the board, please.
Commissioner Blakemore.
Present.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Chairman Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Schultz.
Present.
Okay, thank you for that. We do have one item that we need to add to the agenda. We have a $1.7 million fully funded grant we need to add to for our judicial system for some audio-visual equipment to approve just to accept that grant. So we'll need to add that under our new business after the approval of the contract. It's resolution R-007-24. This is a request from our Superior Circuit for that. So we have that one additional resolution to accept that grant. Is there any other modifications to our agenda?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make the motion that we accept this agenda with this one modification. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay, we do have our minutes from our last meeting held here on January the 25th at 6:30 p.m. The clerk has prepared those minutes. They are in the packets out front, also online. So is there any corrections, changes to the minutes?
No, sir.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented by the clerk?
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, at this time, we do have our public comments. Anyone that would like to come up and speak to the board, we have 5 minutes. Just ask you to state your name for the record. Anybody like to come up tonight?
Stanley Matthews, Chickamauga. I originally came down here, Mr. Chairman, 2 meetings ago, concerned about the abuse of power of the Enabling Act, and just simply call everyone's attention to it. To create debate and get attention. And then it led into the discussion of the job and the position and the way it was, the lady was hired, and we talked about the documents. And so these documents have been obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, and I apologize for last night and not getting to them with limited time. Everything that I ask you appears to be untrue based on the documents your office provided by your answers. And I'm concerned about that as a citizen and a taxpayer. I asked you about the orientation. You assured us that she had been through orientation before she ever started. But on Friday, December 15th, this is an email, the first of the chain. Hi, Angie. Jessica has informed me that my new hire drug testing has been scheduled for Monday, December 18th at 1 Eastern Time. I have notified Chairman Whitfield upon reviewing our calendar. It appears that we will be out of the office at that time. May I please request to reschedule the test for an earlier time or within the same week? Thank you for your assistance. And the reply from Angie Teams, the Human Resource Director, to Gabrielle Chapman: we will work you into the next hire orientation date in the future. Thank you. Another document obtained through the FOIA request is from, it appears to be, it's to Jessica Stanton in payroll. She will not be able to attend as he needs her at that event on Monday, he said. And that appears that she did begin work on her start date, and that orientation wasn't for 30 days later. Now, I didn't come down here originally to debate the job or any of the policies. Your answers led me here. And I asked you specifically if the job was posted. It was not. I asked you if the job was budgeted for. It was not. I asked you if HR was involved. It was not. And all of these, you informed us that all of them had been taken care of, and yes, that was the truth. That concerns me as a citizen, that you would sit there knowing that these documents exist and choose to misrepresent the facts to us. And I don't understand all of the documents, because I'm not in government, but the ones that appear to be, and all of them came from Mr. LeGee through the FOIA request. This is the employment offer letter dated November 10th. You are eligible. Walker County would like to offer you this full-time career opportunity as the executive administrative assistant to the chairman, CEO at a starting annual salary of $42,000. You are eligible to participate in all the full-time employee insurance benefit coverages effective January 1st, 2024. Your 401A, 457B retirement plan will start on your first day of employment on November 27th. And she didn't go through new hire orientation until later in the month of December. And that's not what you told us. And that concerns me, and this is my opinion, not documents, that it didn't seem to bother you to misrepresent these facts to us. And I was here about the Enabling Act. I didn't like your answers. I filed the FOIA request, and these documents that came from your office directly contradict the answers you gave us that night. And that concerns me about what's going on. And another point to be made is that the first meeting, you acted as if adding a word to a job description had no effect at all. The assistant administrative assistant was posted. And you acted that evening as if we just added a word. Well, I hope that words mean more to us than numbers. Because if it's just a word, then it's just a number. And thank you.
And I will provide you the information that will show and validate the exact date that she started, when her I-9 was started,
You did.
her payroll records. Now, you don't have everything that you need, but I'll get that to you.
No,
We've got to move on, but I'll get it to you to be able to prove
Mr.
to
Chairman,
everyone.
I have a question.
Mr. Chairman, you did provide it through this open records request.
You don't have the payroll documents, obviously, or it doesn't appear that you have.
Didn't have but 5 minutes, if you will grant me more
But
time.
I'll get you that information.
No, Mr. Chairman, I've got,
That's my only
Provide.
question. Excuse me, my question is, because if open records, I'm familiar because we have them filed all the time on all of us on other things. But if open records, how would any documents not be the same? And that's, I'm just asking that to understand.
I haven't seen the document. I'll get those from Joe tomorrow. I've not seen what documents he did get, but I can validate and prove that the day she started was the day her orientation was
So
done
then,
by Angie Teams.
so then if you can validate that, then the documents that we've got him are invalid.
Now,
I mean, that's what it sounds like, and I'm just
Okay,
asking.
so clear up. We're gonna
that
clear
leads
it
me
up.
to another question. Where are these documents generated? These came from your office.
We'll get you the actual documents.
Joe, yeah.
I'd like to answer your question. A records request is for a specific record.
Right,
The records that were provided were based on a specific request.
okay.
So there may be other documents, he just didn't request them.
But would there be documents that would be contradictory is all I'm asking, Joe?
I
Would there-
don't know about that. I'm talking about whether or not there are documents.
Well, there shouldn't be any,
that he
there should
has.
not be any that are contradictory, though. I mean, I wouldn't think that we should have any
Well,
documents.
that's not my job.
Right, I'm not questioning your job, Joe. I'm just asking, that's why I was asking the question I asked, and you chose to come up and address it. So,
No, I'm saying that he
What
made
I'm-
a record request. The records he requested were
okay,
provided.
all right.
There may be additional records.
I want to see it straightened out. That's all I want to see is, I don't want to see two sets of paperwork.
No, we're gonna get it straightened out.
That's all I'm asking for.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that'd like to speak?
Just for the record,
Your-
Mr. Whitfield.
Your time is up,
This is
sir.
the payroll.
Your time is up, okay? You can come
I
back
just
and we'll
wanted
get
for
you
the
more
record
information.
to know-
Your time is up.
I've got the information.
Your time is up. Okay, anyone else that'd like to come? Okay, we'll move forward with our agenda. Okay, unfinished business. Jennifer Tessa requests a conditional use variance for property located at 40 Blessed Way, Rock Springs, Georgia, 30739, tax map and parcel number 0-337-009B. This item was tabled from our January 25th, 2024 meeting. Would y'all like to come forward and speak, I guess, probably first on this? And I think probably Commissioner Askey.
Let them speak.
Yeah, y'all come on up.
Hi, thank you for your time again tonight. We'll keep this pretty brief. I believe that we have this narrowed down to a request to grant the conditional variance for our 3 RV sites that were conditionally granted to the prior owner and have already been in existence and in use the last couple of years since we've held the property. We've had a chance to talk to our neighbors about that, and our understanding is that those 3 are not a problem for them, and we are willing to add any additional safety, environmental things that are required, and so we're happy to do that, but as far as we know, we're meeting the requirements.
Okay. I would like to speak to it now. Yes, I did go down and tour the facility like I told them I would. And I was very impressed, and I would, as Ms. Pence stated, to ask anybody who's not been down to go down and look it over, because I was very impressed. And I did ask at that time, had they spoken with the neighbors yet? At that time, you hadn't, but you did, and I was able to speak with the opposition neighbors that had come, and so we're good. And so with you withdrawing the request for the 4, and I understood that after looking at the property, understood why, but with the circumstances as they are, and them having the 3 that were allowed unconditional use prior to them buying the property, and it does meet the requirements, and still through, you spoke with Oscar, with Mr. Oscar Thorpe
Yes.
with environmental?
I spoke to Oscar Thorpe, and then I spoke to his boss, Tim Alley, as well.
And everybody-
And they spoke to him as well.
Okay.
Because Oscar Thorpe referred us to speak to Tim, planning office. So I spoke to Tim, and I recommended them call Tim, and they called. I believe you guys talked to Tim, what Tim was saying. And so he was good with keeping, as long as there's no additional,
Right.
the 3 that are existing, environmental's great.
Okay. So that all being said, I would like to make the motion that we grant them the variance to continue to use the 3 tanks that they have, or the slips that they have there, and that you continue to maintain them, and if you have problems out of them, to make sure that we do keep that corrected, since we do have neighbors right there close.
Okay, so we do have a motion by Commissioner Askew to approve the conditional use variance at this property that was tabled from the prior meeting. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Stolz. Any further questions, concerns of the board?
You got one question. So the original document that came from the Planning and Zoning Commission had verbiage in there for a fence. And it was very vague, and does that verbiage need to stay in there or come out?
Now,
With the neighbors,
don't-
have agreed that we don't need a fence.
I don't think that they do, Brian. It would
But I just-
appear to me to be, and if they're good with it, because there's such a vegetative buffer already.
I agree with you, but the wording
Yes,
requires.
you're
So
right.
That's why I'm asking the
No,
question.
you're exactly right.
So what we talked about and discussed as part of the conditional use variance is to put a vegetative buffer in front of the 3 that are facing the road currently as well.
Okay.
Spruce trees, something to hide it, so visually, when someone brings their camper in, you cannot see it passing by.
Okay.
So my motion would be with any of the conditions that came forward with the planning commission's
Now, the
recommendation.
original, we had, a buffer or a
But
fence there due to the 4 that they were asking for in the back that the neighbors were opposed because someone was petting the dogs or going over into the cul-de-sac.
Right.
So now that that's not, they
Right.
withdrew that. So now the 3 in the front that were part of the original deal was to put a vegetative buffer in front of those, so visually, and they did move those back, so you can't see, they were a little further out, so they did make effort to push them back, but it would be to put some trees or some shrubs or something to make it.
So then the fence would be struck from the motion that came from the Planning Commission then?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's
that was my
correct.
question.
Yes,
Okay, good.
thank you, Brian.
Any other questions of the board? All right, hearing none, we'd have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask Payne Gilly to be making his way up as well under our new business. We have a purchase order 2024-989 for a purchase of $136,670 to Lift One LLC for a Calmar Ottawa T2 truck for the landfill, funding out of our 2020 splash. So Payne, you'd like to speak to this, please, sir?
Thank you, Shannon, Commissioner. Good evening. Yes, this is for a replacement terminal truck at our landfill. Basically, our operation runs something like this. We have an area where we stage empty trailers. Those trailers are driven around to our tunnel by our existing terminal truck. They're filled, then they're driven down to the scale house, weighed, then they're driven to the we call it the landing pad, where we stage them for the trucking company to come pick up, and then the terminal truck goes back to the transfer station, picks up an empty trailer and puts it back in the tunnel. And this makes 10 or so, 10, 12 trips a day. And this vehicle is used every day. Our existing vehicle is a 1988 model Ottawa, and it's basically run its course. We're having to manufacture parts for it. Parts are hard to find. It's in decent enough shape to keep as a standby if we need it, but as far as to continue the everyday workload that we have, it's struggling. So this is a replacement for that truck. We got a couple of prices. The price from Lift One beats the other prices by a little over $17,000. So we feel like we're getting a good deal. It's actually taken about a year to put all this together, just because of everything. But we feel like we have a good solid price, and we've got a good solid truck here. And they're available. We can get it within 2 weeks out of Charlotte. And Lift One's located in Dalton. So we'd like to see this pass so that we could, continue to provide the good service that we do.
Any questions from the board for Payne?
No, sir.
Yes. All right, do we have a motion to approve this purchase order 2024-989 for the amount of $136,670?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. And Payne, just stay there with us. We're going to let you
Okay.
talk about the next one as well.
Thank you very much for that.
Did you want to insert the grant there? That's where you said it would belong.
Yeah, the grant's next.
Okay, yeah, just hold tight. It'll take
Okay.
us a second. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so this is a resolution R7-24, resolution of Walker County Board of Commissioners to serve as Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit's fiduciary agent for a grant award by the Judicial Council of Georgia Ad Hoc Committee on ARPA funding and for lawful purposes. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County Board is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit, which is the LMJC, applied for grant funding for a project to upgrade the audio and video systems in the Lookout Mountain Judicial courtrooms to help address current case backlog. Whereas the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit has been awarded a $1,702,543 grant for this project from the Judicial Council of Georgia Ad Hoc Committee on ARPA funding. And whereas the Lookout Mountain Judicial has requested that Walker County serve as the fiduciary agent to assist with the administration of this grant. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, do hereby adopt or authorize the chair and his designee to sign and execute any necessary documents to perform the purpose of this grant. So resolved and adopted the 8th day, February 2024. This would be to update the audiovisual in all of the Superior Court rooms in all 4 counties. So it'd be Walker, Chattooga, Dade, and Walker County. All those that are held with jury trials for Superior Court, this is what this grant award is for. So we have no matching funds. It's 100% funded through the ARPA funds. They just need us to pass this resolution to allow Greg McConnell to manage the funds and handle the documentation and the audit processing, everything that goes with that throughout the year.
Now, they'll handle the purchase of their equipment and choosing
Yes,
and all
their
that.
vendor,
So they'll handle
they've
all
already
of
got all
that.
that worked out, and that vendor's ready to get started. So they've got everything queued up. They've done all the heavy lifting. They just need us to handle the back office function of making it all happen through the documentation. So, great question. Anything else? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve to accept and administer this fiduciary grant?
Yes, sir, motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution is approved. Okay, Payne Gilly, we'll let you go ahead and talk about your annual renewal contract with the Atlantic Coastal Consulting for environmental services for the landfill operation.
Yes, this is I guess it's going into the fourth year of this agreement, but we've used, the county has used Atlantic Coastal Consultants for many years, probably since 2011. The funds for these services were budgeted in this year's fiscal budget, so we're covered on the costs. I've looked at prices from other firms as well. The market, they're competitive. They have a good reputation with EPD. We work well together. We're able to get a lot done. And if you look on the Exhibit B, there are a lot of tasks that take place during the course of the year. And these prices, if it doesn't cost this much, they won't charge us. These aren't really fixed prices. So I pitch in wherever I can with my consulting experience to help reduce these costs as well. And they're fine with that. They allow us to pay our contractors, our vendors directly, so there's no markup on our expenses. They're fine with that. And they're a good firm to work with, and I enjoy working with them.
Yeah, they specialize in landfills.
They
their expertise.
They are the landfill yes for the state, and they do Georgia work. They concentrate in Georgia. So.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Payne Gilly? If not, do we have a motion to approve this annual renewal of this contract with Atlanta Coastal Consulting?
Motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Payne.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is our commissioner comments. So we'll start with Commissioner Blakemore, District 1.
Just appreciate everybody coming out, getting involved in your government. That helps us better make decisions. Appreciate all of our employees and all their hard work they do for the county and the citizens every day. If I can help, call, text, or email. Thank you.
Commissioner Askey.
Thank you all for your participation. Good to see a good crowd here, see some new faces, some faces I hadn't seen in a while. Glad to see back. As Commissioner Blakemore stated, it does help us, your input, just, your ideas, helps us to understand what you want and what the community needs. So thank you. And always thanks to all of our employees in every department all the way across the board. Appreciate the hard work.
Mr. Hart.
So, as y'all know, in the 2020 SPLOST, there was $1.2 million allocated for agriculture, for the county agent's office in the Ag Center. So a week ago, I met with folks from the ag community. There was about 20 people at that meeting to discuss how best to use those funds. And I'm not gonna go over that now, but I made a list of all the notes and put it together so we can look at it and start discussing that. I think there's some great ideas in there that, we had an original idea that these ideas kind of shift from, but take some time to read it and we can discuss it in the future. But they're kind of ready to gear up and start on those projects that I think we should. Another thing I want to add, the state of Georgia lost 3 soldiers this week over in Jordan. We got a soldier sitting in the audience there. I was a former soldier. Mark served. So just when you lay down and go to bed at night, just think about their families, because those were 3 young people, 3 Army Reserve soldiers from the 718th Engineer Battalion, Engineer Company out of Fort Benning, Georgia. So, yeah, just remember that, Robert.
Very sad to hear that. So appreciate everyone coming out tonight. I want to thank all of our hardworking employees. You guys do a great job. And Bobby, Carlin, John, Payne, I talk to you guys all the time, and you're always a huge help. And appreciate you putting up with me. So thanks a whole lot. The other thing I want to mention is this week, Walker County lost a great man. Raymond Gideon passed away, and Raymond was a true lawman. He was also just a great person, and I can remember him looking sharp in his uniform as a kid at my dad's furniture store. Always a gentleman and just a super nice guy. So my thoughts and prayers are with the family, and we will be thinking about the Gideons. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Back
very
to you,
much.
Shannon. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all for that. And we do have a item for executive session to discuss some real estate. So I'd like to make a motion. We go into a executive session to discuss real estate. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will stand adjourned until we complete our executive session. Okay, I'll call us back to order. It's February the 8th, 2024 at 7:16. We just finished our executive session. There's no additional items coming out of the executive session. So do we have a motion to close our meeting out?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Askew. All in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned, gentlemen. Thank you very much.